Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla, and it is day 3 of my North Coast 500 adventures, and I am here at the Achmelvich Youth Hostel in the far northwest of Scotland. It is very warm despite the fact that it's blowing a gale and a wee bit cloudy. So we are today heading further southwards. We're going to be doing the Bealach, the Pass of the Cattle, amongst other things. So strap in. I think I need to strap myself down, and let's get on with it. So before we go anywhere, I suppose I should probably mention economy, because I haven't talked about it as much as some people might be telling me to do. So the right hand side, NC 500, we have done 324 miles. And by the way, I am not remotely sticking to the official route. I'm going beyond it. This is definitely beyond it. And as you can see, we have done a phenomenal 211 watt hours per mile. And that is what, 4.8 miles per kilowatt hour, which is fantastic. Slightly higher energy burn yesterday, so 144 miles and 222 watt hours per mile. So that is what, 4.58, something like that, miles per kilowatt hour. It's still fantastic. And today we are, so I've already put the route in. So we are up here, which as you can see is kind of northwest from Inverness. If you haven't seen days 1 and 2, go and check those out, and the camping video, and then come back here. So we are basically going to wiggle our way around the around some of the more glorious extremities, and I am particularly looking forward to we're going to do a bit of exploring over here. So we're going to go a little bit further off route as well, and we are slightly off route on the North Coast 500. That kind of goes down there, but this is an alternate route. There's a couple of alternates that it allows you to go and do, and then we eventually find our way ourselves down to Applecross, do the Pass of the Cattle, and then at Lochcarron we're actually then going to deviate off it completely, because the 500 carries on actually northeastwards and eventually back to Inverness. But tonight I am actually going to stay at Rattigan, which is down here on Loch Duich, but I'm going to go into Kyle and have a meander around there first and then back. So I am adding about 100 miles onto the North Coast 500. So I'm around halfway-ish, something like that. But this is going to be fun. We've got 81%, having had a charging stop yesterday just down the road in Lochcarron. Let's get going. We have got, it doesn't actually tell me how many miles I'm going to be doing today. So I know it doesn't look that far, but it's ridiculously wiggly, and it's also going to be quite slow. So just as Achmelvich is basically on a little spur off the North Coast 500, so is Lochcarron. The route actually turns about a mile out of the village. So I'm not going to follow the official North Coast 500 for this bit. I'm going to follow the unofficial, really tiny road route, which is quite frankly far more interesting. And look, a length limit, that gives you an idea. Unsuitable for caravans, unsuitable for buses. That gives you an idea of the kind of road that we're going to go on. So this then picks the 500 up a little bit further around. It is just, I remember doing this one time only and thinking, oh wow. So let's see what we get this Sunday morning, because it's 9:10 on Sunday morning as I'm setting off. it's quite funny being back onto a fast road after all of the very, very tight and wiggly bits of road. But I think we've got faster roads for a little while, and then we get a little bit more off the beaten track again. But yeah, it's good to be back onto two-directional tarmac and not having to keep looking at the next passing place or try and remember several of the bits that you just saw, trying to remember where the passing place is and thinking, am I going to have to reverse uphill to get to it? Because some of that was a bit tight. Anyway, coming into Ullapool, which is the ferry port. As you can see, the ferry going off, probably heading out towards, I don't know, Stornoway or somewhere like that. I have taken the ferry from Ullapool. So back in 2015, I did a tour of the Outer Hebrides in my Mini, which was fantastic. It'd be good to do it in an EV, and maybe that is for another video series at some point in the future. Yeah, I think we'll have to give that one a whirl, actually. We are on the road south from Ullapool, which actually goes to Inverness if you carry on. But of course, we're not going to do that. We are turning off in 5 miles to then follow the extremely wiggly, scenic coastal route of the North Coast 500. So I hope you've been enjoying this series of videos. I really do. I'm having an absolute blast driving this and videoing it for your viewing pleasure. So my friends around the world, share the video to your friends so that they can see the majesty of Scotland. I am taking you on tour. I've got the GoPro sat beside the seats as if you're sat directly alongside me. Share and enjoy, guys. And here's where we turn off the Inverness Road, and you can see NC 500 very clearly marks. They absolutely go to town with making sure that the people on the tour know where they're going. So yes, dropping into Bealach, and actually a little further down here, I'm going to go off the route. I have got a little scenic diversion that I'm going to make. So again, this is the whole flexibility for me, is go out there and explore, which is exactly what I'm going to do when I head to a place called Red Point. So I have been up here before. It was quite interesting, but we don't need to go all the way up to mroe and Big Sand and whatever else. We are going to carry on. Gosh, that That's huge potholes. I mean, there's potholes and there's potholes, and that was proper potholes. So we're that was crackers. We are still enjoying gorgeous sunshine, and it's 22 degrees now. 22 degrees. It's impressive. Ooh. This is an enormous enormous sign, but we're going to go down here. Basically, we are going to hook a right and go down. Whoop, he needs to wait there. Go down here and go for a little bit of an explore. So the navigation piece is not going to like this, and I don't care, so we're going to just turn navigation off. I've still got 59% in the battery, so that's no problem. We've been going for 93 miles this morning, and we've done 227 watt hours per mile. So yeah, excuse me, don't just drive at me. Before I was so rudely interrupted, we've done 226 now watt hours per mile. So it's basically 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, consumption a little bit up on where it has been, but the roads have been much faster, and there's been quite a lot of climbing and descending going on as well. So I suspect that's why it is, but it's still well below my 4 miles per kilowatt hour benchmark in terms of efficiency. So it's significantly good. It probably helps that it's now 23 degrees. Wow. In early September. It's a proper heat wave this weekend, even if it's a bit blowy. We are coming down towards the car parks at the end of the road, and as we clear this ridgeline in a second, have a look out to sea and the clouds. Let's just say that this weather front, which is clipping past the very western edge of Britain, is definitely there. Yeah, it is definitely out there, but at the moment it's out there and it's not here. And again, it's still 21 degrees, and it was a couple of degrees hotter than that earlier, so it's still quite sultry, and the sky looks fantastically interesting. So I'm basically going to go for a walk and take some pictures. I might even take you with me for part of it, but this view that you get is the reason for the trip off the main North Coast 500 route, because just look at it, it's grand. It's very, very, very windy. Not sure if you're going to be able to hear me or not. It's another crazy spot. Well worth the diversion off the North Coast 500. Well, that was some walk. In the end, that was a bit longer than I thought. I've been gone for an hour and 25 minutes. Worth the trip. Right, arriving back to the car, and I've been in sand, I've been in mud, I've been in muck, and that is why I am very grateful to today's video sponsor, 3W car mats, because not only do they make these really high quality convertible mats, in my case with the carpet liner, but I also know that if I'm worried about getting a mess, I can simply pull it out and stick that in the boot, which means I'm now going to put my feet onto nice spray clean rubber, where you literally just hose it down and give it a shake and everything stays clean. So if you want your own set of 3W car mats, then use the referral link below. It really helps the channel. They're a fantastic product, and go and check them out. We're coming back to rejoin the North Coast 500, and the sun once again is beaming down. So despite the weather that was supposed to be sweeping in, we still haven't really had it, so that's a good thing. Yeah, onwards now towards what have we got, how many miles? 16 miles until we turn off for the Northern Coast Loop. Now, where I was at Red Point looking out across the sea, some of the headlands in front were where we are going. So that was another reason to go and have a look at it. It's just kind of relevant. But yeah, we're heading essentially in that direction. And that will take us to Applecross, the long coastal route. And then we are going to go over the Pass of the Cattle to head back the other way. What a fantastic run that was through Torridon. Absolutely immense scenery, and actually quite a lot of fun on the single track road as well, because obviously I had a pilot in front of me in the form of the van who was sweeping the path, and we were getting a fair old move on, which is brilliant, really. So I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed that, and we're about to do a road which I may not enjoy quite as much, because we are going to take the coast road to Applecross. Ordinarily, if you want to get to Applecross, the fast way is to just do the Bealach pass the cattle, but the North Coast 500 has you doing the coast loop, and that is exactly what we're going to do here. And as you can see, NC 500. So go on then, let's give it a whirl. It's quite a way around, so and I suspect that you're not going to be able to do anything like the kind of speed that we were doing on the other road when that was single track. So it's saying that it's going to take wow, half an hour to do 10 miles. So an average of 20 miles an hour, half an hour to do 10 miles. So I'm sure I can beat that. Wow. I mean, talk about an immediate change of gradient. We went absolutely ploughing up that hill. But yeah, that's the question. Can I do faster than 20 miles an hour average over the next 10 miles or so, which I only put on as a marker point to make sure that the navigation took me on the coast route. Otherwise, even the sat-nav thought that I should be going over the Pass of the Cattle rather than this crazy way. But hey, this is the North Coast 500, so we're going to stick with it. Yeah, you can understand why you're going to be going quite this slowly, because it's tight and it's narrow, and too many of these bends and summits are blind. Oh wow, we're still going up. We are as well. Look at this. I'm not sure what the gradient is, there wasn't a sign, but it's certainly going up quite quickly. It's another one of these things where you look at this road and think, you know what, if I'm in a diesel powered camper van, right, I'm a motorhome driver and it's probably my first time driving a vehicle that large and that heavy, and it might well be the first time of driving a vehicle that large and that heavy in this country. Is this really the kind of road that you want to be going on? I have seen a couple of these things being driven in a really poor manner by people who just look like they don't know what they're doing with the thing. Similarly, those supercars, or part supercars, or at least expensive metal cars that we saw earlier on, that Audi R8 V10 or whatever it was, right? How's that going to get on? How's the Ferrari that I saw going to get on with some of these roads? I just look and think, I mean, there's a challenge, and then is the car going to be killed by the road? I mean, at least a motorhome has got a bit more ground clearance, but this hasn't. Quite terrifying, really. Yeah, I probably should have had the camera running a little bit more, because I've just had a couple of incidents with motorhomes being driven by people who literally had no clue what they were doing. I really should have been recording it, because dear me, you really should not be driving that around here. I mean, look, this is not an easy road to drive, right? In a car. Never mind driving a whopping great big heavy thing with a diesel engine that you might not be used to and a gearbox that you're not used to. I'm not surprised that it's difficult, but there is an element of this road really is not for beginners, and yet you've got people who've just gone and rented one of these things and they're taking it out on here. I'm surprised there aren't more accidents, to be honest. Look at this though. A pretty place. With this road just climbing its way, clinging onto this piece of cliff. Thank you. I assume the van's coming back, so I'll make room for him. Yeah, he is, yeah. I'm going to stop and loop myself out of the way because there's multiple vehicles coming the other way, multiple cars coming, so let them all through and then we'll have another go. And then pick the van back up because he's doing a brilliant job of piloting me down this single track road. Obviously without him in front I do have to go a little bit slower around the bends because he's sweeping for traffic and he's already gone. Where has he already gone? Yeah, that's what I mean about needing to slow it down a little bit. Okay, but there he is, there he is. So the bigger hills at the back is Skye and the browner, flatter ones in front is Rasay. I have obviously been on both of those, so you should have seen me going on to Rasay on a previous video. So Rasay straight in front of us and Skye behind it. Yeah, so Rasay, Skye. I've been on to Rasay and obviously I've been on to Skye plenty of times. In fact, we're going on to Skye in about maybe an hour or so's time. We're going to just dive over the bridge and just say, hey, we've been on to Skye. It's not really for this trip, but we're going to go and do it anyway. So yeah, that's the view that you can see in front of you as, again, I'm able to do a lot faster than 20 miles an hour average, flying along here behind this van, making great progress. It's got to be said, this coast road, I mean, it spends a fair bit of time not actually hugging the coast. It does go over the hills and things as well, but this coast road is actually better than I remember because I've done this once and once only, and I think I did it that way and found it to be truly boring. This has actually been quite interesting, so yeah. Several motorbikes. First one. There's another two. Come on, boys. Or is it just another one? Just another one. Okay. Yeah, so you can see the end of Rasay over there, and then the Cuillin Hills behind it on Skye. I think it's the Cuillin Hills. Anyway, it's definitely Skye. Definitely Skye. Got a few drops of rain, but the spectacular, blustery, heavy rain that had been forecast for now isn't here. It was supposed to be blatting down in Applecross, and I'm 5 miles away, and it isn't. So I am actually now hopeful that, although, okay, it's a little bit fresher than it had been, the actual ambient temperature is still 19 degrees. So I'm hopeful that this weather system has missed us, in which case this is just absolutely fantastic. Already, God, is that the road? Oh no, it's over there. Just for a second, I thought that line up there was the road. that would have been spectacular. No, it's still climbing. It's just not climbing quite as insanely as that would have been. I mean, wow, that really would have been something. A load of people on the beach that I've just seen down there. Oh, okay, yeah, there's a car park over here that they probably parked up at. So what we're going to do is, because I kind of want to make the most of the weather, I'm not going to linger around Applecross for very long. I mean, just look at this. This is a view that I wouldn't have got when I was doing this road in the other direction. So no wonder I thought it wasn't particularly interesting. But this is, yeah, okay. This is so much fun. Wow. Now where's the road going? All I can see is rocks. Oh, okay, right up there. My friend the van has got ahead of me slightly. I think my friend the van has done a fantastic job of sweeping this road of everything in front of me. Certainly allowed me to go a fair old chunk faster. So, Applecross, that we're now less than 4 miles from. Applecross is one of those odd places where it's basically just this street, very similar to Pennon or to Crivy, closer to me in Aberdeenshire, where you've basically just got effectively a line of buildings. It does kind of go on beyond that. I have had a meander further down, which I'm not going to do today, but right at the end of the road into Applecross, to be honest, it just kind of peters out. There's a couple of houses and it stops after a couple of miles. But Applecross must be one of those really weird places in terms of being so remote from civilization. It takes such a long time to get there from anywhere with crackers roads to get there on. I mean, it's got to be quite difficult. So I think I live remotely in a rural part of Aberdeenshire, but it's nothing compared to if you were somewhere down here. So I just wonder what would life be like, especially when you get into the winter, where obviously the roads are just going to get absolutely smashed with snow. Yes, of course they go and plough them, but even so, look at this. What is that now in front of us? So obviously Skye is over there. Oh, okay, fine. So it's actually the rest of the headland that we're looking at down here, and then looking. Oh yeah, okay. So Scalpay is down there, and then more of Skye. Fantastic. Haven't been onto Scalpay, but I think you need your own boat to be able to go across onto Scalpay. It's quite big, I suppose, as far as uninhabited islands are concerned. Look at this being chopped through. Where did the road go before that was chopped? So we're coming up on Applecross. We'll have a quick drive up before we head for the pass. We'll have a quick drive up just to have a look for you. There's almost patches of blue sky up there, or the cloud at least is very, very, very light. This is not the horrors that they were talking about, which is fantastic. So, like I said, we'll have a little drive up so that you can see. I mean, Applecross, I think, is one of these places that gets talked about quite a lot. So there's the 500 turning up that way, yeah. And then we go into the village proper. It has a 24-hour petrol station, boys and girls, 24 hours in case you need it, which I don't, obviously, but it's quite funny that it's there. And then this is the Applecross Inn. You know what? Let's go a little bit further up and then just have a Spinderella. The pub, I believe, is really good. Never been in. Actually, the last time I was here was in February and it was closed. Completely closed. And then you've just got this row of buildings. In Gaelic, I think the name translates as the street, and here is the street. I mean, it's literally just a run of houses. And then we're going to go up here and then we'll turn around and come back, and then maybe just park up on the bay and take a picture. So there it is. The furthest west, I think, that we get on this trip, because now we're going to go east, and really quite sharply east as we go over the Pass of the Cattle. So I suppose really we better get back in and do it. Enjoying this? I know I am. And despite the weather forecast and the cloud, it is so warm at the moment. Really, really sticky warm. It doesn't look like it on the camera, but yeah. Okay, so we turn out of the village. Right, road normally impassable in wintry conditions. Yep, that I can believe. Although I have done it in February with snow at the top, and I was on summer tyres, slightly dodgy, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. But yeah, it is understandable that it's impassable in wintry conditions. So what we're going to do is I'll film bits of this on the way up, and I'll show you a somewhat longer section of it on the way down. I think is the way that we're going to do this. Meanwhile, we've got to the bottom and I'm on 225 watt hours per mile, so 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which, considering the speed of some of the roads and the elevation changes, again, is just phenomenally good. This Model Y Juniper is so much more efficient than the old car was. I don't quite know how they've done it, but they have. I appear to be one of very few vehicles going in this direction, because I have gone past, I think this must be vehicles like 7 and 8 or something, and we haven't been going for that long, including yet another very, very, very badly driven big motorhome van thing. Yeah. Guys, you really shouldn't be driving them if you don't know how to drive them. And there's been several of these where I just regret not having the camera running all the time, but if I did, I would have 704 hours of rushes to try and go through. So I can't capture everything, but honestly, I understand now why people are so critical of the North Coast 500 and what it's done, because there are quite a lot of divs driving some of these vehicles quite badly. So if I'm the locals and all I'm seeing is this all the way through spring, summer, maybe early autumn, then yeah, I'd probably be annoyed as well, which is probably why I did this last in the winter, where there were very few vehicles on it and it was fantastic. So we're on the part of the climb where it is just up and up. I know parts of this have been resurfaced, not these parts. This is, yeah, this isn't exactly pretty, to be brutally honest with you, but never mind. And you can see the undulations in the road ahead. We are bouncing up and down here something chronic. Zigzag. So we're going over there. Again, I can only imagine the terror of doing this in a motorhome that you've just rented. This is proper steep. Ooh, suit you, sir. I've got 4-wheel drive. They haven't. I'm sorry. The idea of doing that in one of them just drives me as absolutely crazy. But hey, what do I know? I like 4-wheel drive. It's good when you get something like that. And then cut all the way across so I can try and, yep, peer around. So the Armco is here because the drop gets fairly steep down into this ravine, although at least this has got some Armco, because there's quite a few places I can think of where it doesn't. He's going to have, but say he needs to back up a wee little bit. Don't go that way though. My God. Oh, I had a trailer, fair. Okay, fine. Makes it a little bit harder. This is just straight up. And then the viewpoint. So I think we're nearly at the top, and then we'll do the long dive down the other side. Give him a flash. I'm coming into here. Yeah. Again, rather them than me. There's quite a few places where it's just kind of a really narrow shelf that we're riding on, and occasionally it drops away on both sides just for added fun. Okay. Wow. So this is the top. It says there's a viewpoint, but quite frankly there's not really a huge amount to see because there is cloud now all over the place. So what we're going to do is basically go over the summit and then we'll start the descent. But yeah, last time I was up here there was snow and it hadn't been resurfaced, and it was rather lumpy, bumpy and broken in quite a lot of places, which actually did make stopping quite entertaining a couple of times. Anyway, here's the top, and now we're going to start the descent. Leonard's Corner. I wonder why that's called Leonard's Corner. I think I know the corner they mean, although actually there's quite a few on here that are a bit on the gnarly side. Now it opens up. Wait till you see this in a second. So there's the viewpoint. I've got a picture of this in better weather than this. So yeah, here's the first of the really gnarly bends. So we're going to take it quite wide and then whee, spin the thing all the way around, and then yeah, it's it's quite a road. It's quite a road in any weather, and obviously the weather isn't particularly pretty at the moment. So we've got a series of hairpins, and I can see some people down there having fun reversing who've never reversed apparently. So that all looks like fun. Full lock. Yep, it's a proper hairpin. Now, what's this coming up? It looks wide. And they're meeting, oh good, they're meeting on a blind bend. It's helpful, isn't it? So I'm gonna meet them here, which is going to be quite helpful. Got 3 coming, so I'm gonna wait here, let all of these guys past. Youngest chap driving that blue BMW, looking slightly terrified. Right, okay, is this going to be another full locker? They've really widened this out. I don't remember it being anything like this wide last time, but that's, ooh, actually, not quite full lock. Nearly, but not quite. Right, these vans are sat there. Are they going to stay sat there? You do have to look quite far ahead, it's got to be said, otherwise you're going to get caught out. Right, so we've got a van and a car, and yeah, they are going to, thank you very much, just about got enough room to get through there. And then off the resurfaced bit, that's no good. And then the arm cope disappears, even though some of the drop, let's put it like this, you would roll sideways quite a few times. That's what you would do. And off we go flying now down the hill. So that's the worst of the twists, but even so, this is just spectacular. And the weather makes it interesting. Because I can feel the wind pulling at us just a little bit. Yeah, I'm glad there's a barrier here, because as you can see over there, the drop is like, yeah, you don't want to do that. That would be uncomfortable, putting it mildly. So there is a question mark for me, and I'm not quite sure what the answer is. Is the Pass of the Cattle worse than the Hard Knot Pass in the Lake District? Because Hard Knot, as the name suggests, really is hard. That is brutal in quite a few places that I can think of. This, although it's got a series of very, very tight bends on Cracker's gradients, so has the other one. I do think Hard Knot might even be worse than this one, but this is far more spectacular than the Hard Knot. Hard Knot does not have the views. Now, there's no barrier, and again, if we went off here, we'd be tumbling over and over and over and over until we met our fiery demise. I quite like the fact that there's not a barrier or anything. No, not like. Dislike. Now, we've got a cyclist coming up here, so we're going to wait here for a second. Keep going.
Cheers.
Absolutely crackers. Why would you do that to yourself? Layers of cloud. Yeah, sorry, that's not the best corner for you to have to stop on, but thank you for doing so. So it's still got a few more twists. stopped there. That's fine. Although he's not stopped there very well. Is that a space? What's he done here? We were in a nice hole. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that wasn't quite where we wanted it to be. Any more? Oh, we good. Okay, we're good. So after all of that fun on the Pass of the Cattle, this is Lochcarron. I am going only 3 miles past this, and then I am turning off the North Coast 500 because I am staying off route, and actually a fair bit off route. That was a 22 kilowatt charging post. I wonder if it's working. So many of them are not. Anyway, I'm gonna go along here. I suspect this video is long enough as it is, so I'm not going to film the section of me heading out to the hostel because I've then got to come back again in the morning when the weather is probably going to be better. So I'm going to chop it now, and I will see you when I'm parked up. Hello from Kyle of Lochalsh on my charging adventure. So Kyle of Lochalsh is not on the North Coast 500, but I need some power, and I'm not staying on the North Coast 500 tonight anyway, so it almost doesn't matter. So we'll go CCS, open the flap of joy, stick that in, and then mash the start button, and it starts making whirring noises, which are quite encouraging. So what I need to do is basically put enough power in now to be able to get me to my youth hostel, and then to get me back onto the North Coast 500 and to Inverness tomorrow. And I'm on 21% at the start, and I'm getting 46 kilowatts. So let's go and have a look at how far we actually need. Okay, so I have set all of the movements that I need to do into here. Hang on a second, what is it suggesting? Why does it want? I'm not going to Fort William, am I? Because that's just stupid, right? Why on earth would I go all the way down to Fort William? So hang on a second, hold on. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to No. See, this is where it does stupid things. If we go down here and remove all charging stops, okay, that's much better. So at the moment we're on, it's going to arrive on a minus 18%. So we need to put at least 20% in. I need to meander across to the shop, so I'm going to leave this running for a little bit. So you can see I'm getting 43 kilowatts, which is okay. So having just got back from co-op, I've got about 5 minutes or so I need to put in. That'll get me to Inverness on 10 or so percent. Maybe I'll put in enough to get me on 15 just to give me a little bit of buffer, because that is going the right way, isn't it? Yes, it is. Now, I'm sat here and since I set off this morning, I've done 225 watt hours per mile, which is 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Which is fantastic considering the kind of roads that I've been on. Genuinely, this car does a fabulous job of keeping it nice and efficient. So we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Share this whole series of videos with friends who might be curious and interested as to how the thing works. And I will see you back here very soon on Just Get a Tesla.